Hello, everyone, and welcome to this week's edition of the Village Law SEQFC preview show. My name is Darren. I'm one of the admins at SEQFC. And, well, this rain, it's put a dampener on everything this week. Will the games go ahead? That's the big question. So we've got a massive part of SEQ for the rain to cover. Surely we'll get some games going ahead. We'll wait and see. In the meantime, I've got none of my regulars with me this week. It's just me and three guests. So let's introduce them and find out who we've got. So representing the, what's it called now, Lee? It's the South Coast FQPL3. Is that the correct title?
Correct. Got it in one.
Yes. All right.
Well
It's
done.
Lee Vernon, who's the head coach at Robina. How you going?
Really good. And yourself?
Yeah, not too bad. Now you're up at Noosa at the moment. What the hell are you doing up there?
Mate, I've had a nightmare. I left Dalby this morning with work, and the roads were flooded, so I ended up looping back and finishing up at Noosa and drove through the rain all day. So a little bit tired, but yeah, if the rain that I've driven through all day is anything to go by, I'm not looking too enthusiastically at games going ahead on the weekend.
Looking to poach a few Noosa Lions players, maybe?
Possibly.
Yeah,
No,
that'd be a trip, wouldn't it? All right. Now, representing the, oh, God, here we go. The North and South Metro FQPL 3. Did I get that right, Yasmin?
FQPL 2.
2. Got the number wrong. Yasmin Diaz, is that right? No.
Dan.
There we go. You're the assistant coach at UQFC. How are you?
Yes, I am. Yeah, very well. Thanks. How are you?
Good. Great to have you with us. It's, of course, Women's Football Week, so we had to have at least one women's female presence on the show. Despite my 1,000 inquiries all over the place trying to recruit, I appreciate the fact that you stepped up. Thank you.
Yeah, glad to be here.
Good stuff. All right, we've got one more guest. His name is Ben Marshall, and he is the head coach of one of the new clubs in the pyramid, and that is Australian Catholic University in the North and South FQPL 6. Did I get that one right?
The tongue twister with something like that, yeah.
Oh, man.
Let's go with it. I think it's just the Metro at the moment, FQPL 6, but yeah. It'll stick. But yeah, head coach of the team there, and yeah, newcomers to the league this year. Very exciting for the club, to be honest. But I'm guessing we'll talk a bit more about that in the show.
Yeah, I might just, before we get into the show, I just want to start with that. Given that you're a new toy for us to play with, tell us about how the club came into existence and your application process and recruiting and all that sort of stuff.
Yeah, so our now assistant coach, actually, Mr. Adrian Lemus, started the club back in 2011. So it initially started out as just a QCSA club, just really some humble beginnings, pushed into the NSL League, which is the north side sort of commercial league, I guess. And then 3 years ago, I pushed the club into the Football Brisbane Metro Leagues and started to really get a good group of players around us. And from there, as a university of, quite a lot of students, we have the luxury of a lot of young players that come through the system. So a lot of people or players have joined the team over the years and sort of recruited their friends and sort of done that sort of recruitment for us. And we're really lucky with the core group that we had last year, pushing through. We won Metro or the City League 5 from last year. We had a core group of about 4 players that really helped us push on through, and they've stayed with the club this year. One of those players now being the league top scorer. So he's really progressing quite well there. But then we've also had a few players that we recruited, obviously, to that squad, and really got a foundational base there to sort of progress forward, with them all being more of that 19, 20, 21 age group.
Now, obviously, you just do seniors and under 23s, is that right?
Yeah, it's correct. We do have a Metro team this year with the club, but yeah, in future we would like to progress into that junior scene.
Okay, and how would you do that?
I mean, that's up to the powers that be as to how they want to take on that project. But I definitely know that is a project that we are looking into, being a club that's not just for the students, but for the community as well. It just makes sense for us to be able to facilitate and utilize our facilities for the community around the area. So local schools, not sure how it's going to go, but we do a lot of local school outreach at the moment. So there's probably a lot of opportunity there for that to progress.
And talking about your facilities, do you play on campus?
Correct, yes. So we have the one field at the moment. We do have a top oval that isn't currently set out, but there is potential for it to be developed later down the track. So yeah, we've got plans in place as well that are meant to come across before the 2032 Olympics as well, for a really big facility that sits off the campus, or sits off the field, I should say, on campus. That'll have, indoor courts, big training gym facilities, more change rooms. So we're really excited for that to come across. Whether I'll be here still and reap those rewards, I'm not sure, but it is really exciting for the club.
Fantastic. Any plans to get a women's team up and running?
We did have a women's team, and we were meant to have one this year. I was going to be assistant coaching with one of our Metro players. Unfortunately, we didn't get the numbers together. We had, I think, 11 in the squad, and the girls were sort of brought them in, and there was a consensus that, given the time still to the season, there wasn't really, they had recruited pretty hard as well, and opportunities just weren't there. So they wanted to sort of be able to play football this year. So we said, go join another club sort of thing while they still could. But a lot of those core players, we're really hopeful we'll be able to get back next year, and we'll put a bit more of a drive into it as well. And fingers crossed we can get that team revived.
Yeah, 11 players that will get you through round one, but that's about it.
Correct. Yes.
All right, good stuff. We'll come back to your competition a little bit later in the show, Ben. Let's start with the NPL, and guys, just feel free to jump in if a comment takes your fancy. But looking at the league ladder, Lions have snuck up on top ahead of Olympic. Looking at the weekend's results, it was a 3-1 victory over Olympic, which is for Lions, which has propelled them to the top of the ladder. So we now have Lions on top of both leagues, in the NPL men's and the NPL women's. We don't have any guests here tonight, so we're just going to quickly run through this competition. Looking at this weekend's fixtures, Gold Coast United against Sunny Coast Wanderers. Capella Bar against Brisbane City. Brisbane City got a good win on the weekend, which is might kickstart their season. And yeah, we might leave it at that. All right, let's turn to the NPL women's. As I said, Lions are on top. They're one of the few teams that have played 3 matches. Saw South United play Capella Bar last night. There was a last-minute draw for Souths. I think they scored a late equaliser. That competition still yet to really take off and get a feel for where each of the clubs are at. So we'll let that one slide. Into the FQPL1, Rochdale Rovers are on top now, having played an extra game from Redlands United. This is the ladder, of course, that I'm looking at, which is my game day. Of course, it could be much different. And thank you to everyone who's putting up ladders on our pages. That's fantastic. Great to see. I should probably have those up, shouldn't I? But anyway, just looking at the official ones. At QPL2, that's the women. At QPL2 women, Provincial Power on top, undefeated after 6 rounds. Western Pride in second place, and Surfers Paradise Apollo. In the FQPL2, 24 points. Perfect round so far, undefeated. Lee, you've had a little bit to do playing against Surfers Paradise Apollo. They're blitzing this competition.
Yeah, it was a great finish to the games on the weekend. I was sort of watching them live stream, and I think it was 3-3 with Surfers and also Albany Creek, and then a late winner from Adam Powell, who I coached last season. Got Surfers home and a bit of a lead at the top of the league there, and good to see for the Gold Coast teams performing well. Surfers have got a very good team. They're well. I think they'll be hard to beat this year.
Last year on the Gold Coast edition of the show, of course, all of your guests yourself and all the other coaches that we had say, our league's pretty darn good. We can match it with anyone in Brisbane. And you're proving it at the moment, aren't you?
I think so. I mean, obviously we've got a little bit of a sour taste in our mouths down on the Gold Coast on how the pyramid, is set up with the playoffs and all that. So we've obviously got a bit of a point to prove, and Surfers are doing a good job of proving that point for us on our behalf until we can get a couple more teams in QPL2 from the Gold Coast League. So, yeah, good on them.
Magic United in 4th place as well, with a couple of games in hand, by looks of things.
Definitely. Yeah, look, they've definitely improved from last year, and even Coomera have improved from last year as well. Obviously, they're not where they want to be at the moment, but again, I think Magic will really be a good shot at the top 4 for this season, definitely.
All right, let's have a look at your competition now with the FQPL3 South Coast Men's, and you're in 2nd place at the moment. Is that still correct?
Yeah, we had a game against washed out. So obviously, if we'd have won that, we would have gone back to the table. We've got Kingscliff on Friday night, and then into Southport on Tuesday, which are the teams that are sort of coming 4th and 5th. So 2 really tough games, but I just can't see either of them going ahead at the moment. But undefeated so far, so I'm quite happy with that.
Yeah. So what's been the secret of your success so far this season?
Look, I mean, we've beat Broadbeach and Palm Beach, who are the 2 favourites for the league, so that's a positive. I don't really think we're hitting our straps yet, so we've still got a lot of upside. Broadbeach and Palm Beach are definitely putting a lot of goals on their teams that they're playing against, as you would have seen by the results on the weekend and over previous weeks. So they're both playing well. It's important for us to win these catch-up games to stick with them, because I think they're only going to get stronger. And I think the onus is on us and the pressure's on us to stick with them. As I said, we've not really hit our straps. We've been getting the results, but we've not been playing to the level I'd hope to be playing at. So hopefully that's upside for us.
I'll come back to your squad in a moment, but you were coach at Nerang last season and had a fantastic year. And they've fallen off a cliff since your departure. Do you want to speak to that?
Yeah, I do actually. I mean, it's been in the Gold Coast Bulletin this week, and their club president came out and said he felt blindsided by me leaving, and it's a little bit of the reason why they are what they are. But I made the decision to leave to go to Robina. They're a pretty ambitious club, and with this new pyramid, it's changed all the goalposts. Promotion has to be the focus of the club, and I told Nerang that I was leaving 30 minutes after the last game of the season. So if that's blindsided and that's not enough notice, I'm living in the wrong planet, I believe. But I gave them plenty of notice. I told the club before I told any of the players that I was leaving Nerang. And I thought everything was good at Nerang. I had a really good time there. Was successful last year, winning a trophy, their first senior trophy in a number of years. So, I thought I'd left on pretty good terms with Nerang. Obviously, it's soured. It's not turned out the way that they wanted it to turn out this year. And I hope that they can turn it around.
So what are they missing at the moment, from what you understand?
Well, look, I mean, obviously I left because I wanted to go to a club that had ambitions of going through the pyramid. I think, obviously some players came with me. Some went to Surfers, some went to Broadbeach, some went to Coomera, in pretty equal numbers. So those players have all gone to clubs that have got the similar sort of ambitions. So, maybe the club needed to be clearer with its ambitions of what they wanted to do longer term with this pyramid setup. Look, I think the onus is on those guys rallying. They're a pretty proud club, so I'd say they'll get numbers and potentially some new players, and hopefully a coach that comes in can galvanise them and the history competitive again.
Do you know off the top of your head how many players left?
Well, pretty much everyone left from both squads. Pretty much everyone left.
Oh, wow.
And as I said, in pretty even numbers between. Yeah.
Wow. That's a decimation, isn't it?
Right. Well, our reserve grade won the league as well. So you've got competitive people in first grade and reserve grade. It's not. And obviously, on a side note, the AFA Academy that had been at Nerang for a number of years, I don't know what their reasons were, but they decided to leave after I left, and they obviously moved to Coomera, and that took a lot of players, not just from first grade and reserve grade, but we also had a Coast League and Coast League reserves, which was predominantly AFA as well, and they've obviously gone to Coomera. So, yeah, there was definitely a big hole to fill there.
So you moved to Robina, and they were a club that struggled last year. So it's almost a reverse of positions on the ladder.
Yeah.
What did you inherit? What did you do?
Well, what I inherited was a pretty ambitious club. Robina have got their women into the QPL2, and their juniors are into QPL2. So the only team that were lagging from that promotion point of view was the men's program. So that's what I was brought in to try and achieve results. Maybe not first year, but certainly over 2 or 3 years, the club were pretty definite in their plans to get the club out of the Gold Coast League or QPL3 and into QPL2 and maybe beyond, depending on what happens. So I like that challenge. And that was sort of, initial meetings with the club, very well run, great committee, been there a long time. And it's the biggest junior club on the Gold Coast. So, everything's falling into place for it longer term. And I like that. Again, I was happy at Nerang, but the goalposts changed. When the restructure came and the pyramid system came in, everything changed overnight.
Yeah. And so what sort of tweaking did you need to do with the squad to get them to where they are now?
Well, I had a blank canvas, so I had a certain way I wanted to play. I wanted a younger team that can build over a number of years, a quick team. But even though I was after the younger players that won trophies and achieved as well. So I think I've got a pretty good balance at the moment. A lot of new faces, players that I haven't coached before. So I'm still learning about those guys as well, what makes them tweak, preferred positions and things like that. And that's why I believe we've still got more upside in our season this year.
Looking at the top 4, as you mentioned, Palm Beach, Broadbeach, Kingscliff, Southport in 5th. Do you expect those clubs to remain battling out for the top 4, or do you see someone a little lower down moving their way up?
We played Runaway Bay on the weekend, beat them 2-0, and to be fair, they were the better team. They were unable to get anything out of the game, and league table says that they're third bottom. So, again, any team on their day can get a result. I think Broadbeach and Palm Beach will definitely stay top 3. I think Musgrave were everyone's favourites to be a chance of winning the league this year. Hasn't quite worked for them, but they've got a lot of quality on paper. So it'd be interesting to see they bounce back from a pretty poor run over the last month to push for that position in the top 4. Southport won last year's grand final, and Kingscliff have beaten everyone this year except Broadbeach and Palm Beach. So it's open. It's there for everyone to grab a slice of.
And do you take any interest in the FQPL4?
A little bit. It's good to see teams back in that league in a little bit more volume. I mean, I know it's sort of always struggled, the last couple of years with 6, 7, 8 teams. But I think it's good that teams QPL like Surfers and Coomera can field a team and get some numbers and more people playing on the weekends, because when we didn't have that strength in that competition, it made the Wednesday night competition very strong. And I think a weekend competition needs to be strong across the board over 2 divisions to keep the interest in it.
Do you expect Tweedheads to keep on marching on?
Yeah, look, I haven't been involved at Broadbeach for a long time, and then Nerang, where you've got 4 teams. You've got sort of your first grade and reserves, and then also Coast League or FQPL4 as it is now. When you've got 4 teams, it's very, very hard to manage your numbers and your depth. And clubs that don't have that, like Tweed, are at a definite advantage. But we've seen results in that league go. I think Knights beat Pack Pines, and teams down the bottom beating teams at the top. So it's pretty open. But if you had to ask me who my prediction was, I would say Tweed would be very tough to beat.
All right, good stuff. All right, thanks for that, Lee. We will bring you back into the chat a little bit later. So let's have a look now. Time to bring Yasmin back into the conversation. Yasmin, UQFC off to an absolute flyer this season.
Yeah, honestly, best start we probably could have hoped for. Sitting at the top and then sitting second in our 23s. It's definitely it's a good place to be. There's no hiding that.
You were a club that I watched a little bit of last season, and the squad was good up to a point. I thought finishing was a bit of an issue.
Yeah.
You've scored plenty of goals already this season, so it looks like that's well taken care of, yeah?
Yeah, it was definitely something we knew we had to focus on for this year was, our ability to score was lacking. And if anything, the girls have decided to come out of the gates to prove us wrong, to show us what they've got this year. So it's really good to see the goals that are coming in.
So is there a particular player that's taken over or that stepped up?
Look, honestly, any of our front three at any given point can score, but definitely the re-signing of Riley Wotherspoon was a big one for us. She's currently our leading goal scorer, and yeah, honestly, she's absolutely killed it in front of goals. Yeah,
she's excellent. All right, now looking at the ladders, Taringa joint with you, that they've got to be your main competition this season, right?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, and it's local too, so it just puts that fire in every match against each other. Obviously, this weekend we're looking at the potential of, if that goes ahead, it's that top of the table clash. So it'll be a good one. Definitely one worth watching.
Is that home or away?
It's away. Yeah, away for us.
So Jack Spear.
Yeah.
Yeah, good stuff.
It's a good park to play on.
Yeah, definitely. And just looking at the rest of the top four, you've got Broadbeach, who of course won the league last season, and Robina, who weren't too far off either. So there's some quality teams in this league.
Oh, absolutely. And I mean, honestly, if you'd asked me at the start of the season, the top four, that's probably what I would have predicted. And I think we recently saw the midweek between Robina and Broadbeach, which was, that was the really interesting one to watch, with Robina coming through there. It's good. It's good to see that there's a bit more movement in the table this year. Broadbeach was tough last year, and they'll be one of our tougher battles as well coming forward through the season.
Tell us a little bit about your story, Yaz. You're the assistant coach. What made you step up?
I've coached the under 15s girls teams for a couple of years now, and it was just, honestly, it was in a meeting at the end of last year saying that they needed someone to step in, and I just wanted to make sure that we continued to have that female representation in female football. And I play a big part at the club as well. I've been at the club for 16 years. So it kind of seemed like the step in the right direction to go into coaching there, and alongside Jack, who's just one of the best people to have support you through coaching.
Do you have ambitions to take over a team at some stage?
Look, that would be great. And if I could do it at UQ, honestly, that would be amazing too. But yeah, see how my first year goes, assistant coaching, and take it from there, really.
Just got to get Jack out of the way, huh?
Yeah, I can't tell him that.
All right. Tell us about, you mentioned a little bit about your squad this year with your front three stepping up. Is it the same squad as last season, or have you got some new players in there?
We've definitely got a few new players, but it's honestly a lot of the returning squad from last year with just a few new signings or re-signings from seasons past as well.
Just looking at the ladder, I see that Annalie and Easts are they're lower to mid-table. Does that surprise you?
Annalie, perhaps, yes. Just with what you kind of hear around. I know East has been struggling with a few different things this year, but they are usually one of the stronger teams. But Annalie's a bit surprising, to be honest. I would expect to see them a bit higher up. We're obviously yet to face them, so it'll be good to see what they can bring when we do verse them.
And we'll have a quick chat about the FQPL 3 Metro Women's. I understand you've got a little bit of knowledge there. We've got North Brisbane dominating the competition at the moment. We of course had Puree on the show last week.
Yeah. Oh, honestly, they are, in every sense of the word, dominating that league. Their goal difference is crazy as well, and to concede only 1 goal, that's impressive by any means. And then obviously always got my eyes on Toowong, as again, they're local to UQ. It's quite often that we'll see players kind of swap between the clubs throughout the years. So yeah, keep my eye on Toowong for sure.
Excellent. All right. Let's have a chat. Let's bring Ben into the chat now and have a chat about the, oh my goodness, is that that's not it. Here it is. No, that's not it. There it is. The FQPL 6 Metro Men's. Ben, as we mentioned at the beginning of the show, you're in 4th place at the moment. Good start. Good start for a new club.
Yeah, not too bad. I think I was saying to you a bit earlier though, we're a little bit disappointed not to get a couple of extra draws in there, or even take the results from a couple of those games. Just really close results, 1 goal the difference. So, you know, we're really happy with it. But, you know, of course, it's going to be a tight league, I think, this year. So every point counts.
And we've mentioned it quite a lot on this show that there are some clubs that are just ever present in this league. They never seem to be able to get out of it. Park Ridge are in 2nd place. This could be their year.
We
played them yet?
Yeah, we came up against them. I think it was round 3, just after we got off a loss to Brivey. Really good squad. We were down 4-0 at the break. They were quick. They were very, very quick, and it caught us off guard. Yeah, they've got a good outfit, and they get a lot of supporters to their games as well, which is really good to see, especially for an away trip of that size, which is across town for them. To get the amount of supporters they get, I think is incredible. But yeah, ended up with a 4-3 result. We came back in the 2nd, but just weren't good enough on the night. But yeah, they looked the deal. They looked the goods.
And Ridge Shields are, of course, on top of the league on 16 points. They've done extremely well in the FFA Cup, FA Australia.
Yeah.
It's the Australian Cup
that's
now.
the one.
There he goes. They're doing well. Are they the team to beat, do you think?
We haven't actually faced them yet. I just know they've got a lot of quality in the squad. You know, their striker, I think it was Anthony Sparks, is the 2nd leading goal scorer this year, and he's continued on, I think, his form from last year. So they're obviously doing something well. We were meant to have them this Friday. Whether we get out onto the pitch to play that game, we'll see what happens. But yeah, we are treating it as if it's going to be one of our harder games this year.
Right. Now, we tipped Yeronga Eagles and Old Bridge Salisbury to be the top 2. Have you played either of those 2 teams yet?
So we played Yeronga the week before last. Really tough game. Yeah, 3-2 result there. We lost our keeper just about, 20 minutes into the 2nd half. We're up 2-1 at the stage. So I don't want to say that's what cost us the game, but it is a big loss when you didn't have a keeper on the bench.
Definitely.
So, yeah. But they're a good squad as well. And again, they get a really good supporter base to their games. And it's great to see. And it's just good for football, really. I think the Noise was giving Olympic across the road, who had an NPL kickoff, a real run for their money.
Yeah, of course they are. Neighbours, aren't they? Tell us a bit. We mentioned your ground before. Does ACU have a bar?
So we have a student bar on campus, but not near the fields. So not at this point, no. It is something that will hopefully be built in with the facilities that are eventually built into the grounds area. And
how do you go with the home crowd support?
It's not too bad. It isn't overwhelming. It is it's quite a big area. We have a big grandstand area as well. So even if you are to say get 20 or 30 people there, it doesn't really make it feel that atmospheric.
Very good. All right. Now let's have a quick look at I'll just do a quick run through the other leagues. If you've got something to add, please feel free to jump in. In the FQPL 5, Narangba are on top of the ladder from Tarragindi and Springfield United. I saw Narangba pre-season and then the Australia Cup games, and they look quite solid. So it comes as no surprise to see them doing as well as they are. Jimboomba United, the promoted team, still yet to register a win. Have you Got any thoughts on this league?
I think it's an interesting league, especially with the promoted teams coming up from last year. You look at Jimboomba and Brighton. Brighton obviously doing a little bit better than Jimboomba at the moment, but it's hard to tell. We versed Barton in pre-season, and we thought they had a really good team, and Zoe had them humming quite well. And I know that they were rated to finish a bit lower in the leagues this year, but we honestly thought they might have a bit of better chance. So I think they may have been unlucky in a few of their results so far. But yeah, I mean, at the start of the year, I thought Brighton would continue forward and push on through the leagues, promotion after promotion, and then potentially Springfield as well. So yeah, it's a bit choppy and changey to what I thought.
In the QPL 4, we've got Logan Metro, North Brisbane and North Pine all equal top, with Redcliffe Dolphins a point behind. Redcliffe Dolphins are making their charge. So interesting competition, that one, with New Farm United just a further point behind. So good start for all these teams in this competition. I'll see if any of them are due to play each other this weekend. No, it looks like all top v bottom clashes. And moving on to the FQPL 3, St George Willawong are on top of the league on 19 points, with the Lakes just a point behind. Newmarket in third place. They were my Smokies for the season. Good to see them doing well. Pine Hills, a little bit of work to do in fourth. Now, I need to add, I saw Bayside against the Gap on the weekend. Now, I saw both these two teams play in the Australia Cup game, and Bayside absolutely destroyed the Gap. On the weekend, it was a 4-2 victory to Bayside, but it was only settled late in the game. Both keepers from both teams had a howler in them. It was quite amusing and quite embarrassing at the same time. Have you ever seen a game where both keepers have had howlers? I mean, normally it's one that has the shocker, but one of these was a ball that was left that hit the post, came back into the field of play straight to the striker for a goal. Okay, small judgment error. The other one was a missed kick that then presented the easy opportunity for the striker. Guys, have you ever seen that before, where both keepers have had a howler for each team?
Can't say I have. Usually it's just pretty one-sided. On the other side of the goals is a good keeper, and sometimes the other side's just not having a good
Exactly.
game.
What about you, Lee?
Not off the top of my head. I'm sure I have seen it, but it's very rare. It's usually the other way. Both keepers have an absolute blinder, especially the ones that we're playing against. Usually rock up with a bit of a man of the match performance, but no, not off the top of my head.
Good stuff. What about you, Yasmin?
No, I'd have to agree with Lee there. It's usually the positive. You're seeing two keepers just battle it out for the best on ground.
Yeah. All right. Now, that's our wrap of the leagues. Before we all go, I just want to just throw a question out there. With this wet weather, this is something that if climate change continues, then this wet weather could be a persistent thing throughout the year. What do you guys do with your squads to get the training in and keep everyone's legs, get the kilometres in the legs? Lee, do you have any indoor facilities that you can access?
No, look, I think on the Gold Coast, a lot of people will look to use goals, which is a little five-a-side AstroTurf type setup, but it's usually booked out, to be honest. So there's not a lot of options. It amazes me that on the whole Gold Coast, there's not a single full-size AstroTurf pitch or synthetic grass pitch. So there's not a great deal of options for clubs that are suffering with the rain. I mean, it's normally finished by now. This is definitely the worst I've had. So whether it's a one-off or an ongoing thing, as you suggest, who knows? But I think on the Gold Coast, grass field. We've been doing a lot of, we've got an affiliation with F45, and we were lucky enough to try last night, although I wasn't there, the new David Beckham soccer workout. So the boys did that, and by all accounts, it was pretty good. So we do a lot of cross training and things like that, because we just can't get onto a facility where there's a ball. We use the Alabaster Fields opposite Metricon Stadium, which are council owned. But with the rain that we've been having, even they're closed at the moment as well. So Yeah, there's a bit of a logjam for facilities, indoors booked out. So yeah, Burley Hill runs we occasionally do. They seem to work pretty well, but not so popular with the players. We've done boxing, done everything this year, so running out of ideas.
Beach runs.
Yeah.
You didn't say beach runs.
Yeah. Season.
Mate, I got to take you back to your point for the David Beckham. What was it?
F45.
Yeah, but
So,
it was.
Yeah, it was a global launch of it today, I believe. So we were guinea pigs for it last night. But it's a F45 David Beckham soccer specific workout, apparently.
Right. Okay. So he's put his name to a workout, obviously. Is that where you take free kicks all night and just get those bendy crosses in? There's got to be something more to that.
Show you how to put Brill cream in the hair.
Exactly. What about you, Yasmin? UQFC, you've got fantastic facilities. You've got that synthetic pitch. You must
Yeah, we
take
sure do.
that, right?
So yeah, I mean, we share it across a lot of teams. We'll get the use of that tomorrow night, provided this weather sticks around, which it looks like it will. And I believe as we speak, the girls are actually at a strength and conditioning session. So yeah, they're at Inspire Health Services. They're getting nice and fit and staying fit for the game and the rest of the season.
Good stuff. Ben, what about ACU? What facilities have they got for you to take advantage of there?
Yeah, so we do have a gym on campus, and we do have a covered sports court at the bottom of our oval. We haven't had to, luckily, yet use those facilities. We actually got on the pitch last night. We're really lucky with the drainage being up at the top of the hill there. It seems to carry the water away quite well. So, yeah, as I said, we've been pretty lucky to this point, touch wood. But yeah, we do have the gym that we can use if we need. And the joggers, I'm sure, will come out at one point this season. Just given the amount of rain that we're getting, it seems like the luck will just run out eventually.
All right. And finally, guys, Melbourne City won the A-League last night in the final game, penultimate game of the season. Oh, I think Brisbane Roar were playing at the same time, but big win. No, actually, Roar played last night. City won the league on Monday night. Right. Did any of you take any notice of it whatsoever?
Hate to say it, but I didn't. And to be honest, I haven't taken a lot of interest in it this season. I think the B League's got to come, or promotion relegation, just to inject a little bit of interest back into it. So probably not the right thing to say, but it's the truth.
Yeah, and look, I think that's a common theme amongst everyone in the football community. There's just a general apathy towards the league. Yaz and Ben, do you back up these sentiments?
Yeah, for sure. I'm definitely not watching the A-Leagues at the moment. This definitely leaves a lot to be desired.
Yeah, I've been following along with the Roar's results, but outside of that, yeah, hasn't been too much interest in the league.
It's a sad state of affairs, isn't it? We need to reinvigorate this competition and get us all interested in it again. But in the meantime, we'll keep focusing on our leagues and talking about that. So thank you everyone for being part of the show tonight. Lee, Yaz, and Ben, good luck with the rest of the seasons, and thank you for taking your time out this evening to have a chat with me.
Great. Thanks for having us
Thanks,
on.
Darren. Thanks for having
Cheers,
us on.
mate.
Cheers.
Good stuff. This has been the Village Law SEQFC preview show. Thanks for tuning in, guys. Hope you stay dry this weekend, and we'll see you next week.